What's going on, everyone? Daniel Vadnal here for Fitness FAQs. This is going to be a very quick video, 3 exercises to fix hamstring and hip tightness. So for most people, they spend too much time stretching, and they wonder why they can't get their toes to the bar in a leg raise or touch the ground with their hands. What I recommend is strengthening the hip flexors. Yes, so by strengthening the front, we're going to improve our ability to get our legs towards our body, and it's also going to improve the length of our hamstrings without having to stretch. End result is going to be
Not only this,
but having the strength to keep your legs close towards your body and do crazy stuff like this. Let's do it. The first exercise I'd like to show you for improving hip flexor strength is the hip flexor march. So this one's the most simple because you can modulate the intensity with a band. You've got a lot of contact points with the ground, and it's also got a bent leg, which is just going to make it easier for you to use a full range of motion.
this. Okay, perfect.
So this one, let's grab a band anchored low towards the ground. And you're going to put it around the foot, coming back so you've got tension from the start, all the way from the beginning. The beginner progression is with one leg bent. Your back is going to be flat against the ground, so we've got that core engaged, isolating all the movement to the hip, hands by the side, trying not to push down too much. We just want to use the hip. They're there just for balance. Okay, so now you might have to go a little bit further back.
More tension.
Yes, there's perfect. Hands by your side. Now bring this knee towards your chest. All the way up. Good. Straighten and back again. So this exercise, keep going for me, is going to strengthen mainly the iliopsoas. So that's the muscle that attaches from the spine to your femur. It's also going to get the rectus femoris, or the quadricep muscle, but really is going to engage that iliopsoas after you go beyond 90 degrees. Rest for a second. So forms of progression for this one, you can use a heavier band. Progression number 2 is using a further range of motion, trying to get your knee closer towards your body. Progression number 3 would be having the arms across the body like this, so you can't cheat with the lats. So try that again. And then straighten. Yeah, so that's that one. And then even more of a core demand with this staying like that. Straighten this.
And I'm gonna switch legs.
Oh, come on, man, it's not.
All right. Keep it here.
Keep it straight.
Okay.
Now bring this knee towards your body. So you can see how that adds a little bit more difficulty, control through that exercise.
And my arch wants to arch, like my back wants to arch. So I need to
Exactly.
keep that contraction.
That'll be where I'd recommend most people start out. It's a great awareness exercise and strengthening movement, specifically for iliopsoas, hip flexors as well. Next one. Progression number 1, done for beginners.
Okay.
Anyone, everyone can do that movement to strengthen the hip flexors.
Perfect.
Moving on to number 2, intermediate progression, the hanging leg raise.
Okay.
Now, with this one, I think what we should show first is how people do it incorrectly.
Okay.
So the end goal with the hanging leg raise is to use a full range of motion and get your toes to the bar. Toes to bar is also the name of the exercise. So let's show people how they compensate with this exercise.
What compensation of lack of?
Leaning backwards and lifting up towards the bar, going all the way down. Do one more. So you can see here, he's lifting his legs, but the hip flexion isn't actually coming from the hips, that last bit of range of motion. We're not strengthening this as much as we could. The person's compensating at the shoulder. So to make it super strict, you want to keep the shoulder position here, in a hanging position, no leaning back at all. So Gabbo is really good at this exercise, which is perfect for us to show you the full range. The full range of motion, legs tight, legs straight, lifting up all the way, closing the gap between here and here, and there's no leaning back at the shoulders. Stay up there. That's the end stage position. That's where you want to get.
Okay.
You came down, bro.
Bro, it was like a minute and a half. All right, let's go back up.
For most people, you won't be able to go that high. So what I'd recommend doing is here to here, lifting as high as you can, legs straight. Most of you will get to here, and that's it, coming down. Over time, your goal is to try and go further and further without leaning backwards.
So they stop whenever they start to compensate from.
Correct. As soon as the shoulders start to come back,
Okay.
that's when you stop your range of motion.
Okay. And you would always recommend leg straight.
Leg straight is the best with this one, because that's how you progress this from the hip flexor march that we did at the start. So the first one is easier because the knee's bent. The reason for that is because we can get more force coming through the rectus femoris because the knee's bent. With the straight leg, all of the hip flexors are working, iliopsoas, rectus femoris, but because the legs are straight, there's a term called insufficiency of muscles. So what's happening with the quadricep is because it's trying to flex the hip as well as extend the leg, you're not going to be as strong in that movement, which is why the hanging leg raise is harder.
It is.
This is why it's the intermediate progression, and that's why you need to improve your range of motion over time. Don't cheat and get the toes to the bar by leaning backwards. Work with the range of motion that you can. Yours is the end stage goal. It's a beautiful toes to bar. You've got that great open shoulder all the way up. Perfect.
Awesome.
But for the people watching, most won't be like you, myself included. So
A long time.
baby steps.
Okay.
The last one I want to go through is hip flexor strength on the floor.
Right.
So seated pike compression. Taking a seat on the floor. So with this one, the reason why this is harder is look at the position we're in. Our hip is already in 90 degrees of flexion and our legs are straight. This is why this is a progression above the hanging leg raise, because with the hanging leg raise, we're working through a full range. From the bottom, it's easier to go up in that movement.
Yeah, you were in half already.
Much harder. So for beginners doing this one, your hands are going to be further back. As you get more advanced, you can go further forward.
Okay.
For this one, what I recommend doing, let's make it hard. Let's do isometrics.
Okay.
So you're just going to hold the top position. So beginner variation first, back here, back straight, nice and tall, lifting up. You're trying to close the space between here and here, legs completely straight. As that gets easy, move your hands further forward. And you're trying to close the gap between here and here, lifting towards my hand. Yes, holding this for time. For this one, I recommend 20 to 30 second sets and relax. 3 sets, 20 to 30 seconds. Absolutely brutal for this one. This would be the end stage for this particular exercise.
Amazing.
Quick, easy. This is how you should approach it. Most people spend too much time stretching. They think they've got tight hamstrings. They think they've got tight hips. Might be the case. You might have to do a little bit of stretching for those areas. But most people that I've come across through my training as a physiotherapist, my students in calisthenics, it tends to be a weakness issue. So working on the strength for the majority of your training is going to be a better return. Time, energy, spend time working on hip flexor strength. That way your compression will improve and you also get more length. So you got to think of it as well. When you're doing all these raises, you're flexing your hip. What are you stretching as well? Hamstring. You're stretching your hamstring. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Stretch, strengthening, strength, stretching, that's the best way to go. That's the optimal way to go. Best use of your time. So thanks, Gabo, for being a
Thank you for having me, brother.
and demonstrating this exercise that you're better at than me. Was awesome. So thanks, guys, for watching. Comment below, subscribe if you haven't already to myself and Gabo Saturno, and we'll see you very soon. Peace.